Hey everybody, what's poppin'? It's your favorite doc tender, that girl Henny, and we're back. And so when we were inside, hold on, you guys. I just pushed my spotlight. Hold on. All right, there we go. Henny Studios is in my backyard. I'm in I'm in the house right now, but Henny Studios is in the backyard. I have a she shed in the backyard that I am converting into my personal workspace. Yes. So that's where Henny Studios is, right in that backyard. He said no one to. Shannon, are you male or female? I don't want to misgender you and say he or she and you're not. Yes, hit the like buttons at the bar. So, what we were talking about before the heat decided to attack my laptop, okay, and have it go wonkers and bonkers, we were talking about Jay-Z and the DNA for his son. Also, that Nicki Minaj was getting at Jay-Z yesterday. Did you listen to Epstein's brother's thoughts on his brother? No, I did not. I did not. Because she shed, haven't heard that in years. Yes, it's a she shed that I'm converting into Henny Studios. So I was playing for y'all the video that I did 6 months ago on Jay-Z's son. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and play that for you guys. You guys will only be able to hear the audio. Plus, it looks like one of Diddy's lawsuits, people are saying that it was dismissed. And I'm going to take a little looky-loo and see what we can see. Let me edit this. Let me drop this down. Visibility unlisted. Bloop. All right. I'm going to take a little looky-loo. Hey, Deshaun. Oh man, it changes everything. Well, I can't just jump into what Epstein's brother said. I know other content creators may do that, but I don't do that. You should know that, Crash Out. I have to give y'all the whole shaboing boing bang. I'll save my Epstein thought until we get to that part. Okay, so let's get into the April Lampros case. Now, April Lampros, I covered this when she first filed the lawsuit. And if you guys remember, she came out as a Jane Doe, and then she came out and gave her name. But she filed a case in New York, and she also filed a case in Florida. All right. Now, she filed her civil lawsuit on May of 2024, and it was against Diddy, and she was alleging sexual battery and negligent infliction of emotional distress, right? On July 8th of 2025, a New York judge dismissed the grape claims from the 1990s, stating they were outside the statute of limitation under New York's Gender Motivated Violence Act. However, one claim remains in the lawsuit. So it was not completely dismissed. They just dismissed the grape allegation because it was from the 90s, okay? One of her allegations remains, and that's the sexual assault that allegedly occurred around late 2000 or early 2001. And according to Lampros, Combs followed her back to her apartment where he violently grabbed her and forced himself onto her. Okay? She said that she was unable to fight him off. She was raped and he left. Now, her lawyer is Tyrone Blackburn. Okay? He stated that despite the dismissal of most of the lawsuit, he considers it a victory and intends to move forward with the remaining claim and dispose Combs within 60 days. Now, Diddy's legal team, however, views the dismissal as a win and argues that the lawsuit was filed more than 20 years after their relationship ended. Okay. This civil lawsuit is separate from the federal crime trial, which Diddy was convicted of 2 counts of transportation on. And we know that, and acquitted of the ex trafficking and the racketeering. So, I guess if you're pro, you can say thank you. If you're pro the diddler, you can say it's a victory. If you are not the diddler's biggest fan right now, you can look at it as not being a victory. Okay? So, again, this is April Lamprose's lawsuit, and April Lamprose's lawsuit was filed last year, and I covered it, and it's in on the channel. So, hey, Mama Flip, yes, it's not another lawsuit; it's an old lawsuit where they actually dismissed the 1990 grape allegations in the case because they are outside of the statute of limitation for the gender motivated violence that she is suing under. So, but the whole lawsuit is not dismissed. So if that's what you're hearing, that the whole lawsuit has been dismissed, that is inaccurate. It was only that portion of the lawsuit, but the portion of the lawsuit from the early 2000s, 2001, that portion of the lawsuit still stands. So we're going to see. Oh, Mama Flip, you got to go through my channel. There's a whole lot of people that have filed a bunch of lawsuits against him. And I'm not talking about the Tony Busby ones, because all of the Busby ones, I side-eye. And whenever I hear the name Tyrone Blackburn, I'm not going to lie to you, I side-eye him too. Because I feel like Tony Busby and Tyrone Blackburn are ambulance chasers. Okay? Bonna testified in court that Tyrone Blackburn exaggerated her demand claim. So, you're welcome. Yeah, it's a lot of cases that were against Diddy that are on my channel that I covered. I stopped covering once Busby got involved because, let me tell you, I've told y'all before, Busby's lawsuits read like bad Tubi movies, okay? Where it's starring Diddy, this out of control, crazed maniac, this crazed anal graping maniac that hits people with GHB and pushes them over, and he's so out of control that he's graping men in the back of vans and graping people in bathrooms at video shoots while there's millions of people walking around. And some of it, while if it is true, I'm not making fun of it, but if it's true, the way it's written, it just doesn't make sense. And the worst one of them all wasn't even a Busby one. It was another one where this woman was talking about she was raped and she was at the apartment, and she went outside. She crept outside in the guy's shirt and had a knife, and she chased him and charged him with this knife and was getting ready to plunge the knife in him. And he begged her not to, and she didn't. And the bodyguard that was just in there graping her with him was saving her because Diddy said something derogatory about Tupac. Child, I said, this sounds like a Lifetime Lady Tampon movie to me. Period. Congratulations, Paul Lamar Hunter, LLC. The 19th child out of 21 to graduate. That is great news. Salute to you. Salute to you. Congratulations. What did you say? Gossip, 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 but you here for the gossip. You're here. If he didn't have money, wouldn't be no victims. Show us real victims. Well, Dwath poet, just because a person has money doesn't mean that people that step forward that are victims are not victims. And everybody is not money motivated, okay? Yes, I will be covering the sentencing, Joseph. I will be in New York for the sentencing. So anybody that wants to speak to me, you can attempt to speak to me then. I consider the 2000 and 2021 to still be a victory for accountability for a victim. That's the judge, that the judge has allowed for a civil action. That's just my thought. And I agree with you, Shar, truth seeker. Okay. I know, but I'm just saying, like, but we gotta be okay. Here's the thing, and I'm not picking on you. I'm just speaking in general. A lot of times we feel like, oh, it's a celebrity, they're coming after money, and sometimes that's very much true. That people are going after. Thought poet, okay. Oh, thought poet, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. Okay. A lot of times we see celebrities and instantaneously we want to protect them because first of all, they're one of ours. So we want to protect ours, right? But I feel like accountability should be for everyone, no matter what color they are, no matter where they come from. I'm covering the Alexander brothers, okay? And a lot of people don't want to hear about the Alexander brothers right now because they don't know anything about them. But the Alexander brothers are. And what they did is heinous and egregious. And to me, it's worse than Diddy because these men actually were bringing these women in with the intentions of raping them. And I'm talking about them. But I seem to catch a lot of flack because when I talk about Jay-Z or when I talk about Diddy, I catch a lot of flack because of that. Yes, Abercrombie and Finch. Not really crickets in the media. I see people talking about it. Well, if you're talking about mainstream media, yes. But I see some people talking about it here on YouTube. And I haven't dived into them or dove into them, excuse me, because I'm actually going into this Epstein thing. And why, Henny, would you pick the Epstein thing over talking about Abercrombie and Finch? Well, let me tell you why. Because I feel like there is a lot of cover up that is going on when it comes down to the Epstein case. They are lying to us as a people. We're being lied to. Okay? And let me tell you something. Just as quick as the MAGA supporters have been supporting the tyrant, Agent Orange, they'll turn on him. First of all, this is a background. Hi, my channel is That Girl Henny Reviews. It used to be Hennessy Reviews. And because people associate Henny with brown liquor, there's brown liquor behind me. And I'm pouring up the Henny for y'all because sometimes the truth, it burns when it goes down, sweetheart. I'm not an alcoholic. And as a matter of fact, I haven't drunk Henny in about 5 years. I'm a tequila girl. I'm a tequila and whiskey girl, if we're going to be honest. So should I change my channel to tequila and whiskey and still call myself Henny? Boom, boom, psh. Okay. That girl whiskey, right, Shannon? Okay, beautiful. I love your picture, Shannon. That girl whiskey. Pouring up the tequila. Anyway, so let me just say, I do understand that we feel this need to protect. But if it's a scumbag that's in the news, that's doing scumbaggy things, I'm going to talk about it. It's just a matter of getting my audience to understand that I'm going from so much gossip to talking about real life situations. I actually got to see myself flourish and see myself in a different light as I look back over those first few days of me being down there at the Diddy trial and how I was covering it. I really was bringing y'all the inside scoop for real. And I started taking this seriously. I love true crime. And I didn't become a true crime channel because I'm not one of those people that does like unaliving mysteries, but I watch a lot of murder programs. I do. I watch a lot of murder programs. I watch the first 48, well not, yeah, I watch 48 Hours. I watch Dateline. I watch the ID channel. I watch all of that stuff. I've done some talking and digging on John Benet Ramsey. I just haven't done it here on the channel. But I love crime because I've always been, if I'm going to be honest with y'all, I've been fascinated. Like, what makes a person want to do some stuff like this? What makes a person wake up and decide to be a serial deleter. Like you just mass deleting people. And then you come home and kiss your wife and tuck your kids into bed and go to work like a normal person. Are you serious? Are you serious? How does a person do that? Then when it comes to celebrity true crime, I find it intriguing that these people who have all of this money still engage in egregious and heinous acts. What is it about people with money that makes them feel like they could just treat people like trash, disposable, treat them like they're nothing? Well, thought poet, let me be honest with you. What got me into court docs was my son's case. That's what got me into court documents, was my own son's case. And as a matter of fact, I'm working on my own son's case. And what even got me fascinated with understanding and learning about law is my father, rest in peace to him. My father was a jailhouse lawyer. He spent majority of my life in and out of correctional institutions and prison. But my father knew New York law like the back of his hand. He could tell you penal code subsection such and such and such and such. Tell your lawyer to file this. My father helped a lot of people beat their cases, and they had court-appointed lawyers. So it's in me. You know what I'm saying? It's in me. My mom, when she was pregnant with me, she was studying law. So I've always been surrounded by law. It's just now that I'm no longer on that side of the law where I was ripping and running in the streets. You know what I'm saying? I was out there. And I'm no longer a part of that world. I feel like I should have gone into law because it's something that I love. I love it. I could never be a police officer because I know too many criminals. I know too many. I could never be a police officer, okay? I could never be a corrections officer. That's just not in the cards for me. So with doing the Diddy trial, what I decided I'm going to do is I am going to take up some criminology courses. I am going to look into being a paralegal, because what a lot of people don't know is paralegals are the ones that actually build the cases. So why not go and take up some paralegal studies as well and some journalism courses and take this a little seriously, because I see the potential of YouTube. You never know who's watching in your bushes. A public defender is a public pretender. I agree with you, but listen, my father has helped people get out of jail using public defenders, giving them what to tell their lawyers to do. And my father has a lot of love and respect from people all over the place. People just used to walk up to me and be like, "Oh, you're such and such's daughter, aren't you? Your father helped me with my case, da 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 da." And what's in the kitchen cooking up? I'm not in the kitchen right now. But anyway, so when it comes down to celebrities, I feel like they are no different than you and I. And if they have committed crimes, they should be held accountable for them, just like you or I would. Now, in the case with Diddy, if he was a regular dude, you're right. Nobody would have paid him any mind. He would have been another case that just went untalked about. Because there's a lot of cases. Hey, smoked out. I know. I promise I'm sorry. But I feel like this is an example of certain things, because there are everyday people that commit these crimes. Look at Jeffrey Epstein. He's a financier, but we have no idea what he's financing. What does he do? Who is he advising? What is he a financier of? Rude boy, you asked what sign am I? Let me see if you could guess. I'll let you guess, rude boy. I'll give you 3 chances to guess. Thoughts of a rising soul. I like that. Thoughts of a rising soul. Nope, I'm not a Leo. I give Leo energy. Oh my God. I don't know how to feel about that. Definitely not a Cancer. Although I have children that are Leos and Cancers. One more time, rude boy. Definitely not a Gemini. You were close with the Leo and then you just went, "Eep." I'm a Sag. Hold on, you guys. I just got some hot Henny. Now, look, when you say, oh, okay, I want to know what that means. Because a lot of people will be like, oh, that explains it. What do you mean? What do you mean? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You're a Virgo. My son is a Virgo. So, my kids, I have a Virgo, I have a Cancer, I have a Leo, and I have another Sag. Well, she's a Scorpio Sag because she's born on November 22nd. So, she's right on the cusp of everything. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to come and bring y'all this hot Henny in a video because I don't have time to actually go over it. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm going to have to go over this. Okay, I'm going to have to go over that. All right. So, back to what we were talking about with April Lampros. Like I said, they just dismissed the earlier allegations from the 1990s, but kept the ones from 2000 to 2001, whichever one it is. Um, I'm going to read it for y'all, okay? Plaintiff April Lampros brings this action asserting four causes of action: battery, assault, sexual assault, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and a final cause of action pursuant to the New York City Victims of Gender Motivated Violence Act, the GMVA. Plaintiff claims of battery, assault, sexual assault, and negligent infliction of emotional distress are against defendant Sean Combs and John and Jane Doe's 1 through 10. Plaintiff's remaining claim under the GMVA is brought both against the individual defendant as well as Bad Boy Records, Arista Records, Sony Music Group, and ABC Corps. The complaint alleges a pattern of coercive, abusive, and violent conduct by Mr. Combs spanning approximately a decade, beginning in 1994 when the plaintiff was a student at the Fashion Institute of Technology and first met Mr. Combs shortly after the birth of her first child. According to the complaint, Mr. Combs initially presented himself as a mentor and romantic partner, offering gifts, professional support, and access to the fashion and music industries. Ms. Lampros alleges that this early dynamic soon gave way to a series of non-consensual sexual encounters, threats, coercion, and retaliation. The complaint identifies four specific incidences of sexual assault between 1995 and 2001, each involving either physical force, threats, intoxication, or coercion. In 1995, Mr. Combs allegedly raped Ms. Lampros in a hotel after she felt disoriented and weak after plaintiff had consumed very little alcohol. In a second incident, he allegedly forced her to perform oral sex in a public parking garage near his Manhattan apartment. In a third incident in 1996, he allegedly forced her and other women to ingest ecstasy and then compelled them to engage in sexual acts while he watched and later raped Miss Lampros. In a fourth encounter around the end of 2000 or beginning of 2001, after a period of no contact. Hey, come here. Is the house cool to you? There's water in the freezer for you and your sister. Last day?
For me.
Yes. Happy? Did you lock your sister out?
No, it's closed. I mean,
All right. So, Mr. Combs allegedly forced himself on her and Essie actually assaulted her in her apartment despite her refusal of Essie sexual advances. Plaintiff further alleges that following her attempts to sever ties, Mr. Combs retaliated by interfering with her employment and threatening her safety and professional prospects, which would be blackballing. Specifically, she alleges she was terminated from her job after Mr. Combs' then partner, Kim Porter, contacted her employer and falsely accused her of misconduct, invoking Mr. Combs' name and industry influence. Ms. Lampros asserts this occurred in retaliation for her ending the relationship and as a continuation of an abusive dynamic. In a final allegation, plaintiff asserts that in 2003, she was informed that Mr. Combs had secretly recorded a sexual encounter while with her during the 90s and had shared the footage with others without her knowledge or consent. Okay. In motion subsequent to 002, defendant Sony Records moved to dismiss plaintiff's complaint against them. Plaintiff subsequently cross moves to amend her complaint in motion sequence 002 to withdraw the negligent infliction and emotional distress claim against corporate defendants and add additional facts to remedy the issue in a pleading identified by the defendant and their respective motives to dismiss. So Sony said, dismiss this, please. Okay. The plaintiff's withdrawal of claims. The court held oral argument on motion sequences 002 and 003 on March 5th of 2025. First in their paper filings and orally on record, plaintiff withdrew the first three causes of action for battery, assault, sexual assault, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Accordingly, those causes of action are dismissed. See? Hey, the lounge. Second, plaintiff orally withdrew all claims as to any of the corporate defendants. Accordingly, as plaintiff has withdrawn all claims against all corporate defendants, motion sequence 2 is resolved as moot, as defendant Sony Music Entertainment is no longer a party to this action. Additionally, plaintiff cross motions to amend is denied. First, as set forth more fully below, the plaintiff claims for negligent infliction of emotional distress are denied, thereby making amendment of the complaint for that purpose moot. Second, plaintiff's argument that they should be able to remedy their pleading in response to defendant's motions are dismissed without merit. Moreover, to the extent the motion sequence 003 is based on arguments made on behalf of defendant Bad Boy Records, such cause of action are dismissed pursuant to plaintiff's withdrawal of all claims against any corporate defendants. Defendants' arguments in motion sequence 003 for dismissal relate to Bad Boy Records, and as Bad Boy Records is no longer a party to this action, the branch of defendant motion as to Bad Boy is moot. All right. That's talking about the law. And of course, they tried to argue that it's not time barred. But they granted the dismissal. The defendant's motion was granted in part for dismissal of plaintiff's claims pursuant to GMVA, the predicate December 19, 2000. And such claims are dismissed and is further ordered that defendant motion 003 is denied in part for dismissal of plaintiff's claims pursuant to GMVA, that predicate December 19th, 2000, and are tried with the remainder of this action. Are tied, excuse me, with the remainder of this action. So, like I said, in part, some of this in part has been dismissed. But what do you guys think of this? What are you guys thinking? I know a lot of people are celebratory and feeling like this is a victory for Diddy and that he could possibly beat all of his cases. Um, I don't know. Y'all let me know. Sorry, I had to send that text message off. Hey, everybody coming in, everybody that came in, everybody that left out, everybody that's still here. So basically, what this means is that the motion to dismiss was filed by Diddy, okay, in a civil case with April. And the ruling was issued by the New York Supreme Court judge. While the judge's name isn't quoted, I can't tell you who it is that's overseeing, okay? I already read to y'all the allegations, and Diddy's team filed the motion to dismiss the case on several grounds. One was the statute of limitation and failure to state a claim, arguing that the lawsuit lacked legal bias. They also said insufficient detail or vagueness was in the complaint as well. The court denied Diddy's motion to dismiss due to the Adult Survivors Act, and the court cited New York's Adult Survivors Act, the SAA, okay, which gives adult survivors of sexual assault 1 year window to sue, even if the normal statute of limitation had expired, and April's filing fell within that window, right? The judge ruled that April's complaint includes enough specific detail about dates, location, and conduct to move forward to discovery. Okay. The court emphasized that at this stage, it is not the court's job or judge whether April is telling the truth, only whether she stated a legally valid claim. All right. The motion to dismiss was denied. The court will proceed to the next phase, which likely includes discovery, where both parties will exchange evidence and take depositions. All right. Let me ask y'all something though. If the Adult Survivors Act, hold on. If the Adult Survivors Act continues to reopen doors to decades old secrets, how many more names might be dragged into the spotlight with Diddy before it's over? Because you have to remember things like the Gender Motivated Violence Act that opened the floodgate, and then Adult Survivors Act opened the floodgates even more. So I'm also curious as to Miss Pammy said 3 million. Do we have 3 million celebrities? The NYC is done, but I believe the California Survivors Act is still active. And guess what? There's a lot of celebrities that live in California. So this woman's case is only partially. Hold on. It was only partially dismissed. It happens to people every day, not just with Diddy. Right. So we don't know what the number is of everyday people that was actually allowed to do. And the funny thing is, I started. Never mind. Let me shut up. That's telling my business. I'm not about to tell my business. All right. So for those of you who don't know, all right, the Adult Survivors Act, the New York statute, all right, it is a New York law that gave survivors of sexual assault who were 18 or older at the time of the abuse a one-time opportunity to file a lawsuit, even if the statute of limitation had already expired. It was signed into law on May 24th of 2022. Okay. That was when the window was open. Now the window closed November 24th of 2000. The window closed November 24th of 2023. During this 1-year period, adult survivors could file civil lawsuits no matter how long ago the assault had happened. All right. People who were 18 at the time and alleged sexual assault, they were people that were helped by this, and people who were previously barred from suing due to time limits. So that's what this did. This gave everybody an extra window of time to seek justice, which, if you ask me, I feel like sexual assault cases, be it women or, little boys, were being touched on too. Can we talk about that for a second? Little boys were being touched on too. Remember the Boy Scouts of America scandal? Henny glasses in the chat if y'all remember the Boy Scouts of America, because we might have to do a little Henny pour up on the Boy Scouts. I feel like there shouldn't be a statute of limitation on sex crimes. I don't feel that way. I feel like sex crime victims should be able to also file under a pseudonym. They should not have to bring their names forward. That would help a lot of men and women come forward, but mostly men, because a lot of men don't want to talk about them being assaulted. Yes, them altar boys in the Catholic Church. Swagger said, I'm old enough to remember. Yeah, the Catholic school kids too. I went to Catholic school for a little while when I was younger, and I wonder. I'm not saying, I'm just asking. All right? So again, April filed her case during the look back window. Actually, let me go back to that, because it was signed into law on April 24th of 2022. The look back window was open November 24th of 2022 and closed November 24th of 2023. And guess what? That's how Cassie got her lawsuit in. And people are like, why did she wait till 2023? Well, because she was done with Diddy in 2018, and the statute of limitations on that had expired. Had it not been for this law going into play, the Adult Survivors Act, she wouldn't have been able to file her lawsuit. And she filed her lawsuit 24 hours before it was due to expire. She didn't file it when it first opened. She filed it right before it was about to close. I don't know. Last minute decision? Y'all tell me down in the comments. Now, this Gender Motivated Violence Act, let me tell y'all what that is. So the Gender Motivated Violence Act, the GMVA, is a New York City civil rights law that allows individuals to sue their abusers in civil court if the violence was motivated by gender. Originally enacted in 2000, strengthened and updated 2021 through 2022. It covers physical violence or threats of violence, sexual assault, rape, or abuse. It must be motivated, at least in part, by a victim's gender. Okay. Now, the people that can use this are anybody who suffered gender-based violence. Victims do not have to show that the perpetrator was convicted of a crime, and claims must be filed within 7 years of the incident. But a 2-year revival window was open in March of 2023, allowing older cases to be filed. Now, with April, remember, she filed under this as well. She brought her claim under the GMVA, arguing that the abuse she endured was not just sexual, but motivated by her gender. A legal angle that lets her seek damages under city civil rights laws. Okay? So that's how we are seeing a lot of these cases where people were coming out with all of these lawsuits against Diddy that were alleging as sexual assaults and things of that nature. That's why they're still coming out now because of this law right here. Listen, my mama never let me join the Girl Scouts, and I just wanted the Girl Scouts so that I could get the cookies. I've been greedy all my life. I wasn't fat all my life. Well, not fat. I'm fluffy. Okay, I'm very thick. But I wasn't thick and fluffy all my life. Okay, but I was always greedy. Oh God. All right, so let's be real. I just wanted the cookies. Them thin mints and them Samoas and them lemon cookies too. Yeah, nah, I wanted the cookies. I wanted the cookies. I ain't gonna lie. I'm making cookies kind of girl. Um anyway, moving right along to the next topic. Cause I don't know why y'all fool with me. I don't know why y'all fool with me. You was a brownie girl. I wasn't even a crumb. I wasn't even a chocolate chip. Okay, my mom said no. She wouldn't let me. All right. Now let me tell y'all something. I have been digging into, thank you. I have been digging into this Epstein stuff, and baby, let me tell you something. I'm suspicious about a lot of things. Can I just be honest with y'all? Henny Glass in the chat if y'all want to talk about Epstein or if y'all want to keep going. Because for me, I want to keep going. I'll talk about whatever y'all want me to talk about. At this point in time, I'm like the girl on Coming to America. Whatever you like. What do you want to talk about? Whatever you like. All right, so boom, check it. Now, y'all know that them peoples up there in the White House, they was promising us that they was going to give us the Epstein list, okay? His client list, all right? But we've got a passenger list. We didn't get a client list, but we would have never known anything about a client list had they not said anything. And now they are trying to Mandela affect us and tell us that there is no passenger list. But there was one released. I mean, no client list, but there was a passenger list released. And I'm beginning to think, because if you look on that passenger list, let me see if I have it in this phone. Is it in this phone? Yep. I'm about to pull it up. Now, this list right here was part of information that was dropped in August of 2024. Yep. August of 2024, they dropped this list. And on this side right here is where you get the list of people. Okay, and there's a lot of people on this list over here. A lot of actors and politicians and former presidents that are on there. You know what I'm saying? They on there. But, and I don't have it on this clip, but I'm going to clip up this portion of the live and I'm going to make it a video. And I'm going to show y'all in the video. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do a video on this. I'm going to do a full video on this. And all of you that are in here watching this, y'all better go and watch my video when I do it because YouTube wants me to keep doing vertical lives and I don't want to. Anyway, on this list, right, you see where it says on flight logs and it'll tell you who was on the flight logs, right? But next to this right here, there's another little portion of the list that asks if it's in his contact book. And I think the contact book is the client list. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, I got excited because I got to do the dun, dun, dun. Put my bar back up. Put a new bar up. Baby, let me tell you, I was looking at some of the names that was on there, and I was like, you taking flights to Epstein's Island? Child. Listen, you don't have no business being on Epstein's flight log or in his little black book unless people was going over there to go do things they ain't have no business doing. I mean, and they was talking about Epstein was throwing parties like Diddy was throwing parties, and you don't know what be going on at these celebrity parties, and things be getting weird. And I don't know. I don't know. What y'all think? People in high places don't want it out. Same reason he disappeared. Not baby oil. Goddess, they wasn't doing baby oil. Oh my God, not to be doing nasty stuff. God, prayer, love, and light. Thank you, Kenneth. An ocean of baby oil. Goddess, I need you to come up out of the diddler. Come over here. Come over here. Oh my God. Swagger, really? 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 All I'm saying is, I'm getting ready to start doing this Epstein stuff, and baby, I might get my channel in trouble. Okay? My channel just came out of being shadow banned. I might have to start a whole new channel, you guys. I'm just gonna be honest. I might have to start a whole new channel, which I already got a backup channel. Yeah. It's Hennessy Reviews times two. I'm gonna just go do that Girl Henny 2.0. And I'm gonna go over there. That's it. And I'm gonna go over there. Now, that channel ain't monetized, but I'm gonna go over there. Cause I think this channel has just about had it. He said, let me walk to the water table right now. Why? You ain't do nothing. What does the K and Y stand for? I'm asking Henny. Why you asking me that? I don't know. Let me go to Google. Let me see if Google can tell us what that means. What does the K and the Y mean in KY jelly? I have no idea. Why would you ask me this? Why would you think I would know the answer to that? I don't even own that. Okay, what does the K and Y mean in KY jelly? I can't believe you got me looking this up, Miss Pammy. Why you don't be asking for me? The KY and KY jelly doesn't officially stand for anything specifically according to the manufacturer. Medical origin theory is that it was originally developed as a surgical lubricant, and some speculate KY refers to Kendall Yale, two companies possibly involved in early production and distribution. There's no official confirmation of this. And there you have it. I'm not, listen, it don't have no meaning. It's just there. They just put it there. K and Y. I don't know. Listen, I don't know, okay? Diddy was using Astroglide. Astroglide is what the corn stars use. That's all I know. I don't use none of it. I don't use any of it, okay? So I can't answer none of these questions. Yes, Beyonce's lace front. You are late. Hey, Debbie Taylor, how are you? Listen, y'all be asking me. I use surgical gel. Miss Pammy. Why aren't you in the kitchen? Did you ask yourself that? Why aren't you in the kitchen? Asking me no questions like that. Speaking of, My kids is about to get me. I was supposed to do an Instacart and I didn't. The White House said it ain't no list, Henny. The White House is lying. It's funny how, first of all, y'all really want me to talk about it? I'm gonna talk about it. Let's talk about it. First of all, um, do y'all remember Henny Glasses in the chat? If y'all remember that Donald Trump got caught with a bunch of classified documents in his Mar-a-Lago home. Do y'all remember that? And he was told to bring those documents back, return them, unhand them from your filthy grip. And he did not. You don't find that suspicious? And then when he came back to office, all of a sudden he was releasing the Epstein files. Yeah, you releasing the Epstein files because you removed all the stuff about you from up out of there. There's an article that FBI is seeking 61 plus months more for his sentencing. For whose sentencing? For Trump's sentencing? I'm not surprised. Money buys the best magician. Sometimes the magician is the money. Hey, the brother Smash. So, yeah. Now, oh, I don't know about that, Claire. I haven't heard anything about them seeking 61 plus months. I don't. Well, I know that the government was saying that they wanted 53 to 61 months, but the maximum of his sentence could be 20 years. That's what they were saying. But you'll have to wait. I'm not gonna be on here much longer because I have to get the podcast rolling. I can't let another day go by. I was supposed to be 3 episodes in by now for y'all. Again, I'm going to drop the audio here on the page, and the video to the audio will be dropped into the members only. I'm going to be going in and cleaning up a lot of the members. Yes, Claire, if you could send it to me on which page? You could either send it to that hit Girl Henny Reviews on IG or official that Girl Henny, whichever one. Just let me know which one you sent it to. The list will never come out because too many powerful people are on that list. Specifically, too many Jews are on that list, and you have royals. You have royals that are on that list too. And if you know anything, you know that our presidents always have to go visit the royals. But one of the royals' least favorite president was Donald Trump. Just saying. In the podcast, I may start doing a lot of my content podcast version and then putting the video out. But what I'm doing right now is I'm reading the transcripts from the Diddy trial because for me, being that I was out there, I want to read the transcripts because I want to complete the whole thing. Like I want to have the whole thing done. So every day I have to set aside time to record for the podcast, and then from there it'll just be like little things, little things that I'm talking about. It'll be cases where I'm reading paperwork. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, hold on one second. All right. Hold on, I have the article. My bad. Oh yeah. This was sent to me this morning. All right, hold on cuz I can't airdrop it. I was going to put it on my screen. I can't put it on my screen, but I can read it from my phone. Okay, so feds indict at least 6 to 8 years in prison. Indicate, I'm sorry, 6 to 8 years in prison as judge finalizes Diddy's sentencing. Prosecutors appear ready for a novel argument under a recent federal guidelines amendment that prohibits acquitted conduct from being considered at sentencing. Now, this is by Megan Coffin. Salute and shout out to her. She wrote this yesterday, right? Yes, she wrote this yesterday. So it says Sean Diddy Combs will be sentenced on October 3rd after his lawyer on Tuesday abandoned their request to expedite the hearing. The 55-year-old rapper will remain at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn because U.S. District Judge Arun Subramanian rejected his bail request last week. Combs' lawyers requested on a September 22nd sentence. Combs' lawyers requested a September 22nd sentencing in a joint letter with prosecutors filed early Tuesday, but they filed another letter later in the morning that requested the original October 3rd date. Prosecutors and the U.S. Probation Office, which will evaluate Combs and make its own sentencing recommendation, didn't object. Judge Subramanian authorized the schedule following a short phone hearing in which his deputy clerk said he'd respond to the scheduling request in writing. Combs faces up to 10 years in prison for each of his 2 convictions of interstate transportation for the purposes of prostitution by but prosecutors say their preliminary calculations of his outstanding range under U.S. Sentencing Commission guidelines is 51 to 63 months. Okay, so I've been saying 53 to 61. It's 51 to 63, so I had it backwards. His lawyer says it's 21 to 27 months. Prosecutors didn't include it in their 51 to 63 month calculations, but they said they plan to seek a 4-point enhancement in Combs' offense level, which is a key component of federal sentences for offenses involving fraud or coercion. If Judge Subramanian agrees, that would increase Combs' standard range to 68 to 97 months in prison, you guys, which is 6 years and 6 months to slightly more than 8 years. Prosecutors also indicate they may seek other enhancements because they haven't had adequate time to carefully consider all potentially applicable guideline provisions. So what does this mean? This means that they are going to upward departure instead of downward departure him. They are looking to upward departure him. Now, remember I told y'all the government does not like to lose, ladies and gentlemen, and we knew that this wasn't over. So dun dun dun. Child. The defense's sentencing position is due September 19th. The prosecutors are to file their position on September 26th. Prosecutors detailed their preliminary 51 to 63 month range in a filing last week that argued against Combs' bail request. And they said it could increase because evidence related to the convictions overlaps substantially with evidence related in the SEX trafficking counts. All right. What does that mean? That a lot of the stuff overlapped one another. When it comes down to the trafficking and the transportation, a lot of that stuff overlapped. But I told you guys that. I told you guys that if you see the transportation, you saw the trafficking because it all intertwined with one another. Those 2 charges intertwined with each other, you guys. And don't get mad. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? Prosecutors cite a U.S. Sentencing Commission guideline that was amended in November of 2024. So the guideline was amended when they came to come get him and put him in Click City. How would he get a 4-point enhancement with no priors? They trying to play dirty but can't change the law because he's rich. Okay. Because they're going off of what's been alleged in court. So just because they didn't get him convicted on certain crimes doesn't mean like they didn't find him guilty in court. Those crimes still intertwine with the crimes that he was found guilty of. If you're transporting to engage in prostitution, you're trafficking as well. So they're going to try to upward him. So I don't know. Look, This is what they going for. Don't shoot the messenger now. Okay, prosecutors cited a U.S. Sentencing Commission guideline that was amended in November of 2024 to exclude acquitted conduct for being considered relevant conduct at sentencing. Prosecutors emphasized in trial that interstate transportation for prostitution is illegal even if everyone involved consents. But jurors had no way of indicating on the verdict sheet if they believed the commercial sex acts at the center of the transportation acts were consensual. The acquittal on the trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion charges indicate the jury agreed it was, but that it isn't enough to stop prosecutors from seeking more prison time from the transportation conviction because Combs used fraud or coercion to commit the crimes. So that's what they're going for. Prosecutors' 8-page filing last week cites the overlapping evidence on the trafficking and transportation charges when arguing that much of this conduct is not included in the guideline definition of acquitted conduct and may be relevant to the guidelines calculation. They warned, however, the government requires additional time to consider many other potential enhancements or cross references that may be applicable. So they are going to pile on the charges on Diddy. Now, let me explain something to you. What is happening to Diddy is what happens to a lot of men. A lot of men of color when they go into the prison system. They do tack charges on. I will put that out there. But you went against the government and the government lost and you thought they was going to just let you tra-la-la away. No, the government is trying to give Diddy the long kiss goodnight, y'all. Michael Friedman, a criminal defense attorney in Los Angeles, said the new amendment and prosecutors' enhancement argument sets the stage for an unusual sentencing decision for Judge Submarinian that will be ripe for appeal. So, if they hit him with these sentences, this defense attorney is saying that this is going to be perfect pickings for an appeal. This is avant-garde federal sentencing litigation, Friedman said. Friedman said prosecutors are going to act as if they won and he did everything they said he did. And then they're going to try to shoehorn that into the guidelines, and it's going to be a little bit messy. These are novel amendments, so this is just going to be fodder for appeal, he said. Okay? When explaining the 51 to 63 month range, prosecutors said evidence at trial showed Combs transported 7 escorts across state lines for paid sex. So, even setting aside Miss Ventura and Jane, Combs's offense level must increase by the maximum allowed for number of victims, which is 5, and would put him at 19 instead of 14. Prosecutors are putting him in the lowest criminal history category, and the offense level increase alone raises his standard prison sentence range from 15 to 21 months to 30 to 37 months, okay? However, they also say Combs deserves more time in prison because he obstructed justice and quote unquote, was a manager of supervisor, and the criminal activity was otherwise extensive. They cite that his use of the services of many of his employees, including his chief of staff, Christina Karam, his travel advisor, his security staff, his assistants, in order to carry out the offenses of conviction. The jury's acquittal of the racketeering conspiracy count rejected prosecutors' argument that Karam and security staff were knowing co-conspirators. But prosecutors said, even if all those employees were unknowing participants, their years-long assistance in facilitating the criminal activity satisfies the criteria of this enhancement. According to prosecutors, Combs's obstructive act Acts include trying to bribe security after he assaulted Ventura at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles in 2016, and after Ventura sued him, calling his former girlfriend, who testified in trial under the pseudonym Jane. Combs secretly recorded the calls, and prosecutors used the recordings as evidence in trial. They said in his filing last week that Combs attempted to feed Jane a false narrative regarding her participation in hotel nights to silence Jane and prevent the law enforcement investigation into the conduct. The conduct encompasses the conduct underlying the prostitution charges that gave rise to his case. Prosecutors factored those enhancements into their 51 to 63 month calculation at the offense level of 24. Child, he done jumped all the way to an offense level 24, according to the prosecution. But they didn't include the 4-point enhancement they said they plan to seek for offenses involving fraud and coercion. Child, they trying to bring him up to an offense level of 28. Okay, now let's look and see if this is on her chart. If they bring this up to an offense level 28, according to the sentencing chart guidelines, on a criminal history of 1 to 0, that would give him 68 to 97 months. Child. Don't you know no good? Don't you know no good? Yep, with that, his offense level jumps to 28, and his final standard range is at least 6 years and 6 months to slightly more than 8 years. Combs' lawyers' 21 to 27 month calculation is based on an offense level of 16. They agreed with prosecutors that his base offense level is 14, but they said it should increase only 2 levels for the number of victims, which they said is 2, Ventura and Jane. They did not mention the escorts prosecutors named in their filing. They also said while they fully respect Combs' sentencing exposure and do not seek to minimize in any way, but it is in fact low. Judge Submaranian indicated during last week's bail hearing that he's systematic to prosecutors' argument and could sentence Combs harshly, which is what I was trying to tell people, that Judge Submaranian is not playing with Diddy. He's not playing with him. He did say that. Okay? He immediately announced his decision to keep Combs in custody, then explained his reasoning by citing the defense's statements and closing arguments about Combs' violence. The judge also said prosecutors presented evidence that Combs engaged in a years-long pattern of abuse and violence, including as recent as June of 2024. He emphasized Combs' violence continued while he was under investigation, including the June 2024 assault of Jane, in which prosecutors had photos of her bruises in evidence. Now, the court takes no position on what evidence or conduct will be relevant to the defendant's sentence on crimes of conviction, said Submaranian, a 2023 Joe Biden appointee who spent his pre-bench career in bankruptcy and commercial law at Sussman Godfrey LLP in New York City. But for present purposes, the defendant is unable to meet his burden to show by clear and convincing evidence the lack of danger to any person or the community given the evidence admitted at trial. Friedman, who represented baseball star Shohei Ohtani, I think, former interpreter IP Muzura, I don't know, in his wire fraud embezzlement case last year, said the judge has tremendous discretion, but the recent prohibition on the consideration of acquitted conduct means the defense has a lot easier terrain for an appeal, Friedman said. Overall, the defense won the trial because the jury acquitted on racketeering and trafficking charges. So their sentencing position is going to be far more, I think, teetering to reality in that regard. Most of what was charged was fizzled out and he was not convicted. And what you're left with is a much narrower set of counts of conviction with much smaller offense levels and fewer enhancements and a lower guideline range, Freeman said. It's somewhat risky, I suppose, for the judge to start doing this guideline analysis based on the evidence that he heard at trial because he wasn't convicted of a lot of this. You can't escape that he literally got acquitted on these charges, Freeman continued. That's what I mean by sort of avant-garde, I believe is what he said. It's out there in part because it's aggressive. Fine. But it's also very untested and so it's novel and I think therefore risky. The U.S. Probation Office is to submit their pre-sentence investigation report, which is not publicly available, by August 29th, and Combs's lawyers are to file their objections by September 5th and prosecutors by September 12th. The Probation Office then must file its final pre-sentencing report on September 18th, one day before the defense is to file its sentencing memorandum. The prosecution's memo is due a week later. Post-verdict motions, which could include a motion for acquittal or a new trial, are due by July 30th, and prosecutors are to respond by August 20th. Judge Subramanian has not yet ruled on Combs's acquittal motion under Rule 29 of the Federal Rules of Crime Procedure, which his appellate specialist, Alexandra Shapiro, argued on June 24th. Child. Well, if we're going to talk about the CNN juror or the juror that was on CNN, it says an alternate juror who spoke to CNN last week said he didn't know he was an alternate until shortly before deliberation. But as I should have pointed out in the previous article, that isn't true. The 18 people seated for the jury knew who was a juror and who was an alternate when they were sworn in, which is standard in federal court. Meanwhile, a juror who deliberated issued an anonymous statement to ABC News defending the verdicts. The juror said they found the idea that celebrity influence played a role in the verdict to be highly insulting and belittling to the jury and deliberation process. Now, I'm going to pause right there because what deliberation process was had? Because at the end of the day, the fact that y'all went in there and y'all deliberated for not even a full 24 hours were y'all in deliberation. Y'all were dismissed into deliberation. Y'all were let go at 5 o'clock. Y'all came back the next day, and within 3 hours of coming back the following day after announcing that y'all could not come to a decision on count one, y'all come back and 3 hours later, y'all have a decision. And this juror was on CNN saying, we thought, and we saw, and we found, and we, as if they were having conversations behind the scenes. He did say that he thought a lot of the time as well, but the we part is the part that had me sitting there like, y'all was talking to one another and y'all wasn't supposed to be talking about this. The only time they were to talk to one another about this case was during deliberations. They were not supposed to be having conversations after they got dropped off in the government van to their vehicles or wherever it was that they were going. They were not supposed to be sitting there talking about it. And he made it very clear in the way that he was talking, especially being that he was an alternate and the alternates were let go. They were not in the deliberation room. They were let go. When the jury was dismissed to deliberate, the alternates were released to go home. I was in the courtroom and I could pull the transcript. So he wasn't even in there in the jury room to be deliberating. So no, you don't get away with the we part because you weren't in the room. Period. What you say? I'm at work, so I can't comment much. Ha ha ha. Just listening in. So no worries about me. I'll catch y'all tonight if she happens to do another live. Okay, girl. Listen in from work, honey. I'm trying to get y'all through y'all work day now. All right. So yeah, I feel like he shouldn't have stepped out the window and talked. But listen, he says the juror said we spent over 2 days deliberating. You didn't spend over 2 days deliberating. It wasn't no damn 2 days. I was in that courtroom. Okay. They went through what they went through, and then we all was released and we went outside and we was waiting. And them jurors was in there deliberating. And then at 5 p.m., the judge said that they could stay later if they so wish. Thank you for the flower. If they so wished to stay after 5 p.m., they could. And they said no, they wanted to go home at 5 o'clock. And guess what happened? They went home at 5 o'clock. And when they came in there, they told us at 4 something, almost 5 o'clock, that they reached decisions on counts 2 and 3, but that they could not come to a decision on counts 1 because they had people that could not be swayed on both sides. That is what they came in and told us at 5 o'clock, almost 5 o'clock. Then they came back at 9 a.m. the next day. And by 11 a.m., we had a verdict. Baby, y'all wasn't in there for no 2 days. Don't lie like that. Don't do that. Our decision was based solely on the evidence presented and how the law stated it. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way, honey. Because Judge Arun Submarinian gave y'all clear instruction on what the law was. And y'all was still asking about distribution. Yeah. Anyway, the juror said, we would have treated any defendant in the same manner, regardless of who they are. I have nothing else to say. That sounds like a woman. Sounds like it might have been the sister. I have nothing else to say. I don't know. He also described the SC actually explicit video that prosecutors showed only to jurors, the judge, and witness as pretty tame. Even in the videos and everything seemed very consensual. That's what the guy said on CNN. My June 29 article looks at how prosecutors and Combs' lawyers used the video and how the defense showed more of the actually explicit footage to jurors than prosecutors did. And that's what the guy said. The guy said, the juror, when he was on CNN, he said that the defense was showing them more of the oochie coochie la 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 that was going on in the videos than the prosecution was. But I also told y'all that only the jury, the judge, and the witness were the ones that were seeing these videos. We wasn't seeing them. Okay, we wasn't seeing them. Not even a still photo worse we seeing. All right. When deliberations began Monday in New York City, jurors in Sean Diddy Combs' SCX trafficking and racketeering conspiracy trial will have watched at least 30 minutes of video showing the parties with prostitutes that prosecutors say were brutal SCX crimes at the center of the rapper's decades-long criminal enterprise. Thank you, Megan, for your editorial. You did a great job. Did he need to serve time? He knows what he did. The jury is not together. Listen, at the end of the day, let me say this. I don't know if the CNN juror is under investigation. I don't know that. I don't know. Let me see. Diddy juror under in that would make regular news. Under investigation. Let's see. This alternate juror is on a press run, just like the escort Dave. He's on Court TV. He's been on Ashley Banfield. He's been on News Nation, Inside Edition. ABC News is talking about him. Like, what? He's saying he had an open mind the entire time. You're an alternate, sweetheart. Mm. Let's hear what he says in this next video. He been doing a lot of talking. Ain't none of the regular jurors out here talking. It's just him. It's just him. He doing a lot of talking, y'all. This is Fox News.
I mean, there were always moments where there was, when the defense really was able to get in. I mean, one that really stood out for me, just I even wrote it in my notes, was the cross examination Dawn Richard. You know, with Miss West.
Can y'all hear it?
You know, her cross examination of her, and even Bana. I mean, it was. I mean, she definitely poked. I mean, she definitely poked holes. I mean, I think that's why they had her do that. But just to see how she did it, it was really something to just to behold.
That's what him said. That's what him said. I'm still like, out of all the people that everybody been talking about, he's the only one that brought up Don Richard. Everybody talking about Jane and Cassie and Mia. I don't know what you talking about, Hats. What you talking about, Hats? You wanted my attention. You got it, baby. What you talking about? Hmm. There I go. That girl Henny. There I go. Ooh, the first thing that popped up for me, and I'm not even signed in, was the Diddy trial, day 25, Rico established. And it's got the airplane, the baby oil, the pills and potions, the 2C, the Astro God, and the accounting ledger. That was a really good one for me. That was a good thumbnail. That was a really good thumbnail. I gotta give it up for myself. That was a good thumbnail. Yeah. Let me see. I want to see if y'all heard it. Oh. Now y'all told me y'all could hear me through my microphone. Are y'all really hearing me through my microphone though? Okay, y'all are. Okay, y'all are. Y'all are. All right. Okay, y'all are. Okay, y'all are. Y'all are. Okay, I just Oh, Hats is trying to come for Swagger. Hats, you don't want to do that. Don't swag. You don't want to do that with Swagger. I'm just trying to warn you. Don't come in here and get on no type of timing, cause Swagger will take one of these bottles back here, and I don't know what he gonna do with it. I don't know. Yeah. Aj, how you know that you're in here? I haven't seen you before. You must be watching from the shadows. You watching from the shadows, Oz? All right. So, what haven't we talked about? I don't even know what we haven't talked about. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what we haven't talked about. Oh, okay. So let me see. I don't know if Swagger can see me. Swagger, can you see Sherm?
In other news, Florida residents are going to be happy to hear this. It just came out. There's a new website where any Florida resident, as long as you live within a zip code in the big pocket, money in the bank, coming, dropping a deposit, having it my way, so I got people just watching.
Here we go. This the
What
Jay
are we
Z son.
thinking? What are we thinking? What are we thinking? Now he has filed a new lawsuit in the New Jersey court system, and a slew of judges alleging they conspired with the rapper for over a decade to have cases relating to his paternity, inheritance, and abuse of court processes dismissed. Child. In the court papers filed in New Jersey by Ramir and his godmother Lily Coley, the pair alleged that Jay Z lied in court that he had no property in New Jersey. Therefore, the court had no jurisdiction over him, even though he had property deeds and tax records with his name on it. In the court papers filed in New Jersey by Ramir and his godmother Lily Coley. Oh, I already read that. Okay. It comes just days after Jay-Z's real name, Sean Carter, was accused in a separate lawsuit of raping a 13-year-old girl alongside former pal Sean Diddy Combs. The suit accuses Carter, 55, of allegedly assaulting an unidentified teen at MTV's VMA after party in 2000. Now, they got it wrong. That's not what it is. She was at an after party, but not associated with MTV or the VMAs. All right. So, Carter has denied all the allegations against him, calling it a blackmail attempt. Carter is not listed as a defendant in this new court filing, he is mentioned several times and has been battling Ramir, Lily, and Ramir's now deceased mom, Wanda, since 2010. Baby,
She cooking.
since 2010, this has been for 14 years. The filing states that the six separate judges conspired with Party Carter, who continued to misrepresent that he did not have property in New Jersey.
She cooking.
Ramir and Lily have filed several lawsuits against Carter since Ramir's mom first filed a paternity test request back in 2010. But they claim the rapper abused the court system, causing their cases to be dismissed or denied. And we're going to leave that right there where that is at.
Was I cooking? I was cooking, y'all. Thank you for the floating hearts. Yeah, Hats must have exited the building. because Hats, I guess, was looking, and y'all ain't spit. And I'm gonna tell y'all why y'all ain't spit. Cause he said, "Who's looking for me?" And y'all like, Hats, Hats, Hats. Baby, I felt like we was sitting on the playground. Well, we not even in the playground. We at the bar. So, boom, the door opens up to the bar, and Swagger done walked in and said, "Who looking for me?" And everybody was like, Hats. Everybody was putting, and I was just sitting there like, I'm just so happy all of y'all are here tonight. Meanwhile, Hats slipped out the back door when nobody was looking. Oh my God. Listen. Listen. That's what it was like. And meanwhile, I'm like the piano player on the Color Purple. Whoop, time to go. Tried to warn him, like, you don't want that smoke with Swagger, okay? You don't. Well, I could tell you, it was a little brown circle with an H in the middle of it. They didn't even have a profile picture, Swagger. So we don't know what they look like. I said it. We had garlic bread last night. I don't know if we should get some more garlic bread. Anyway, so if that's what everybody is talking about, baby, we've already talked about the Jigga Man and his son. I'm saying it's his son because the boy looked just like him. I mean, the boy looked just like him. Ain't no getting around that. The Jigga Man, excuse me, can try all he wants to and say that the kid ain't mine. But the kid is not my son. Okay, I'm done. I just had to get that out my head. All right, so he could sit there and he could try to deny, but that boy looked just like him. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. That kid, that young man, because that's a young man now. That's not a child. That is a young man. That young man looks like him. Okay. So I don't know what the Jigga Man trying to do. That's probably why he don't want to show his son. Well, I don't know. That's a good theory, but I don't know because you know that there are allegations out there, and I don't even want to speak on those allegations because I don't talk about people kids. I don't play that talk about people kids stuff over here. I don't do that. But there are things that people have been alleging about the reasons why they don't show their son. Which I just personally feel like if someone decides not to share their kids, who are we to try to force them to do so? And I get it. I get it. The daughters are out and about. So people are like, well, where's the son? But that's really none of our business, people. We've got to normalize minding our business sometimes. Some things we got to mind our business on. And that's one of them that I choose to mind my business on. But from what we did see, I don't believe that. Oh, yes, I will withdraw that. Thank you. I do believe that this person is possibly his child. I do think that. Oh no, I know, Lola. I was just saying I don't want to get into. But we here, boo. Trust me, we here. I picked up what you put down. Um, Um, now, to my understanding, there was a dismissal that happened. So I'm not trying to get too deep into the dismissal because I'm going to have to show y'all court docs. And I really don't like showing court docs in this format. I'm really just doing this right here for the channel. Now, I am going to be doing some videos. That's what I'm going to spend the rest of the evening doing. And some of those videos will drop today. Some of those videos will drop tomorrow. But I'm going to be dropping videos for you guys. So then there's that. But I wanted to come on here. Sorry, I'm trying to do what I need to do before my children come for me. And I don't know if y'all don't know my kids, then y'all don't know. But if you know, then you know. I ain't playing with them. I'm not even supposed to be live right now. I'm not supposed to be live when they come home from school. That was the arrangement. And I've been live when they came home from school twice. Today, I don't really have an excuse. But I wanted to come on here and I wanted to chit chat with y'all. So, who's Sam? What we talking about, y'all? I want to laugh. Oh, maybe another time. What did you say, Sam? Lizard people are everywhere. Lord have mercy. Sam, what lizard people? Are you talking about reptilians? Sam, are you talking about the reptilians? Because they are everywhere. And if you live in Florida, Florida lizards are everywhere. So you're kind of right. I'm just trying to see if he's talking about the reptilians. Because I'm curious. I'm curious. No, the lizard people. What lizard people? You got all of us intrigued. You have to explain. You have to explain yourself. No, not another time. I want to know now. I'm afraid, actually, they might track me down and make me one of them. Uniquely. Well, if they're going to track you down, then that means that they might track all of us down because now you've put all of us in danger by even mentioning it in the live. You better hurry up and delete those comments, Sam, before they track you through those. You wouldn't want that. Listen, I don't know what it is that we're talking about anymore. I've lost it. Now I'm just trying to get this pin back in. Nah, Sam is the original target, not us. We don't go down that hole with him. Okay. Hey, everybody, what happened? I just got out of my mental health therapy, got my therapist tuned into your channel, Miss Henny. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Too early for Cocoa Puff Sam. Hey, Killer Rob. I'm okay. I tried. You can't say that I didn't try. He caught our attention. I asked. It is what it is. But so I just played a clip for y'all from the video. Like I said, that video was done 6 months ago where I talked about the lawsuit against the rap mogul. Was a years long feud, okay? And it finally got some traction, and yeah. But it looks like you know, there was some updating that went on, some things that happened. And yes, I have some court documents for you. And I need to update y'all on this, on what is going on. Yes, we are. We are always like this. What are you talking about, Uniquely? Don't lie. Because she going to tune in today. And she might tune in tomorrow. And she going to see that this is how these people really behave. And she might be sending all of us referral sheets to see her expeditiously. Okay? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, yeah. So there's a lot that's going on when it comes down to the things that we talked about. Did we talk about everything? I said Jay-Z. I said Diddy. I said Epstein. I think we talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. I think I'm about done. And you heard that? That means that the MacBook has said, all right, get that HP out of here. Get the HP out of here, okay? My Windows computer. I don't think that the MacBook was appreciating that I was over here using that because, you know, the Mac is where it's at. I opened it and it just turned back on. Like, hold on. Mind you, it died, okay? It was hot and it died. And now it's nice and icy cool because we have the AC, the central air on, and my ceiling fan. Yes, I have my central AC and my ceiling fan on because I like having the cold air whooshed around in my room. Okay? Don't judge me, judge your mammy. But anyway.
He's tarnished. There's no getting around it. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. People will always be mumbling about this, just like they've been mumbling about him having dealings with R. Kelly. They've been mumbling about the Aaliyah stuff. People's have been mumbling for years, and I'm sorry if you are a Jigga Man fan, this might not be the video for you. While I am not going to slander him, I am going to give my comedic relief. I am going to laugh at inappropriate stuff, as I always do. And not only that, I am going to give y'all the docs and the hot henny, and I'm going to read these court docs. So please do not get offended. It is my job to give the news, and that is what I'm going to do. Well, not the news, but the trending topics, okay?
Well, that was my riot act. All right. But anyway, you guys, thank you for tapping in and tuning in. I have to format these a little bit better. All right. I do. I have to format these a little bit better. But I'm going to bid you guys adieu and just ask you to make sure that your notifications are on for the videos, because if they are not on, then how would you know what is going on when it's going on? You will not know. You will not know, okay? Because you'll miss it. But in honor of also knowing that YouTube likes to play around with my channel, I will go ahead and make sure that I post on both of my IG channels. This video is going to self-destruct and it will be edited down. Okay, so you may, if you miss some stuff, you may miss it because I'm going to edit this down and I'm going to be deleting stuff. So then there's that. But anyway, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. If you are on the East Coast, you should have approximately 1 hour left of your workday. And I hope that I made your workday a little easier. And if you are on the West Coast, that means that you just came back from lunch. And I'm sorry that I have to go. But I hope that I made your lunch hour fun. And if you are on the other side of the world, good night to you. We'll see you next time. But love is always love, y'all. Remember to vibe high so the bullshit don't stick. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace, everybody.